DMRs in Rainbow Six Siege are characterized by their lack of damage falloff, kind of like other FPS games. 138 from 8 meters is pretty decent damage, especially in 2 shots, but even further away, compare this to Senz's POF9, for instance. And we get a totally different picture. Because DMRs are principally built for this kind of long-range gunfighting, I am going to take into consideration the damage rate at 8 meters, but we're also going to measure it from a practical distance of a spawn peak. Specifically, the second floor villa spawn peak in One State RP. The sponsor of this video, One State, is the first ever mobile open-world online game with roleplay.
You have the right to remain silent.
Guys, come on.
Darling, I'll visit you.
Alright, I want to talk to my lawyer.
Hold still, hold still.
Why'd you tase him? Why'd you tase him, bro? Put the weapon down.
Put your weapons down.
Put it down.
Easy,
Only cops can have
easy.
weapons. Hundreds of people can play on the same map, creating a hustling and bustling RP world. You can do pretty much anything you want. You can protect the streets from dudes who wear flannel shirts in the summer. You can pick up ASAP Rocky from the airport, then try to sell him Andrew Tate's Bugatti, which you stole while raiding Hustler University. The game's graphically optimized for a number of different devices as well. One State's absolutely free and doesn't have annoying ads like other mobile games. Download One State from the link in the description now and come to play with me. For the first players, I'll leave my promo code as a gift. Thanks again to One State for sponsoring this video. Okay, but in all seriousness, here's my comparison point. The Christmas market spawn peak on Cafe. At 8 meters, the 417 will do 138 hit points of damage in 2 shots. A little under 33 meters, it's 128 hit points of damage in 2 shots. Surpassing the 125 3 armor damage threshold, this gun will 2-shot anybody that doesn't have Rook armor or a Dock Stem. The 417 can also use an angled grip, and it doesn't really have too much recoil that I wouldn't mind using this for more aggressive play. You can also put a suppressor on as well. So the gun has really good damage, and it has a lot of flexibility in terms of attachment options with a 20-round mag. The 417 has crazy damage output just for a primary weapon in general, not just DMRs, plus any attachment options that you want and a 20-round mag. This thing is easily S tier. Mathematically, it trumps a lot of its competition just on the paper sheet. I won't knock points against Maverick for using the charging handle instead of the bolt release on the AR-15, but that's not my issue with the AR-15. In fact, the damage output isn't even really my issue with the AR-15. 124 in 2 from 8 meters, 186 in 3, a little under 33 meters, 114 in 2, and 171 in 3. These are all pretty comparable to other DMRs. The problem I have with this weapon is the magazine size. It's very small, 10 rounds. It does have some bells and whistles. You can put an angled grip on, you can put a suppressor on. Comparable damage might mean that the AR-15 isn't a terrible weapon in a vacuum, but this is a tier list and we're comparing all of these items among each other. You might have good aim, but you can't outplay the limiting factor of a magazine size. You will need to reload a lot with this weapon, and you might have to take multiple engagements, and that's something that the AR-15 suffers from greatly. Since its competition consists of weapons that just have better stats, it's hard to place it much higher. This one's gonna piss some people off, but I make a living off of pissing people off, so who cares? The BOSG is only good because of a placebo effect. Otherwise, this thing absolutely stinks. And I'll show you why. At 8 meters or closer, 125 hit points to the chest sounds pretty cool. That's a one-shot to most targets. But then you go past 8 meters, or you go to spawn peaking range, which is commonly the meme with the BOSG, and you realize the damage fall off is awful. So you have to hit the second shot, which is difficult to do because of the immense amount of recoil from the first shot. Even if other DMRs require 3 shots to do the same amount of damage, you could hit 3 shots with the Mark 14, for instance, faster than it would for you to get a second shot with the BOSG while you wait for the muzzle to settle back to center. Not to mention, you only get 2 shots, do not miss your chances to blow, and if you hit an arm or a leg, well, you're already screwing yourself out of that gunfight while you wait on your barrel to settle. So ironically, with the gun that's supposed to favor long-range gunfighting, you really need to stay at close range to maximize that 125 damage shot. But what if I told you the 125 damage shot falls off very quickly too? Yep, you have to be within 9 meters to get that 125 damage chest shot. It just ain't worth it. 2 shots, a lengthy reload, a lot of recoil, damage that falls off considerably. The BOSG is not a good weapon. It is a meme weapon. The CAMRS. The closest thing we'll get to the FAL in Rainbow Six Siege, 138 in 2 from 8 meters. That's really good, a lot like the 417. It does have more fall off than the 417 though, as you can see. 116 in 2 shots from a little under 33 meters, 174 in 3. Because of this fall off, it is statistically worse in the 417 and I can't put it on the same level. However, that damage output is still pretty good. Because of Buck's underslung skeleton key, you can't swap out the grips and you can only put a suppressor or a muzzle brake on. So the modularity aspects here are kind of limited comparably, but I think most people run a foregrip on DMRs anyway, so it's kind of a moot point. With a 20 round mag, easy to control recoil, and really good damage output, the CAMRS is mathematically not as good as the 417, but the 417 is in a tier of its own. So the CAMRS, in my opinion, is fine. We get into weird territory with the CSRX. Now, obviously at 8 meters, it'll one-shot with 135 hit points of damage. When you go really far, to about 33 meters, you'll see that it does 115 to the chest, which is still more than the BOSG. In fact, damage falloff for Kali's sniper rifle in general is just really, really freaking good, which I would hope so. In fact, you will still do upwards of 125 damage all the way up to 29 meters. When we go back to the Christmas Market Cafe example, you can see that Kali's sniper is almost tailor-made to deny spawn peaks. However, it is a bolt action, requiring you to cycle each round manually. And in a game with one-shot headshot, flexibility is the name of the game when it comes to gunfighting. Kali is a one-trick pony. She's very good at what she does, but she only does one thing. Definitely do not hit the limbs, much like an op in CSGO, or you're gonna lose that gunfight. Kali's sniper is not a bad weapon, it's just good for a particular scenario, and not good for a ton of other ones, so I can't place it too high in the tier list. However, the one-shot ability that it has over range does make me pick it over the AR-15. The Mark 14 has a certain kind of mythos surrounding it, considering it's Takebi's only real viable primary weapon. You'll see that the Mark 14 doesn't have particularly crazy damage output, but its recoil is so low that you can get follow-up shots pretty easily. It does 120 in 2 from 8 meters, 180 in 3. From under 33 meters, 108 in 2, and 162 in 3. Now, if we circle back to the AR-15, you might look at the damage here and go, Greg, this is pretty comparable, what gives? But again, that magazine size is really going to limit your engagement options. With a 20-round mag and not a lot of recoil, the Mark 14 allows you to engage multiple opponents in a row, whereas with the AR-15, you're going to have to reload over like every other freaking engagement. The Mark 14 has a variety of attachments. You can put an angled grip on, you can put a suppressor on, so the modularity is there as well. Yeah, the damage output isn't as good as the 417 or the CAMRS, but it's easy to control, and it gets the job done. A really interesting one here, Glaz's OTS-03. It's hard to consider whether or not Glaz's scope is considered a part of his gadget or his gun. Fortunately, on its own, the gun actually has good characteristics. It does 142 in 2 from 8 meters, and 134 in 2 from a little under 33 meters. So we don't even need a third shot. That's usually going to take any target that you see down. You can put an angled grip on this weapon for some reason. I wouldn't suggest it because you're going to be playing passively anyway. You should be scoped in. You should be hard scoping. You're playing a sniper. That's what Glaz does. The suppressor is awesome when you combo it up with smokes and the thermal vision. No tracers means that people can't quickly ascertain where you were shooting them from, even without smoke. Just this ability for the enemy to not see exactly where they're getting shot from right away is really, really powerful. Not to mention you have a 15-round mag, which isn't a crazy large amount, but it's enough. I find that the recoil isn't too crazy even with a suppressor attached. It's up to you, ultimately. But Glaz's rifle does a lot of damage from a long distance without too much fall off. It has the thermal scope. It handily takes its place as an A-tier weapon. It's not quite the 417 because the 417 can spam shot a lot of high damage shots without much recoil, but Glaz's weapon is quite good. I like it a lot. On paper, the SR25 is almost identical to the Mark 14. At 8 meters, 122 in 2, and 183 in 3. A little under 33 meters, 112 in 2, 168 in 3. The effects of the damage are pretty much identical, so the only difference we're talking about is really just how the weapon feels. It can also put on a suppressor and an angled grip just like the Mark 14. You're starting to understand where I'm getting at with this. It's in the same tier. There's not really a lot that differentiates it. Finally, we wrap it up with everybody's favorite shotgun DMR, the TCSG. Now, not only is this thing useful for setting up sight, it also has a 2-shot body shot kill against 3 armors because it does 126 damage in 2 shots from 8 meters. And even if you go a little bit further out, it will still 3-shot targets. So while it does have a 10-round magazine, it does have more damage than the AR-15, and it also can help set up sight. It'll stop 2-shotting 3 armors at about 13 meters, which isn't too bad. Don't forget there's no point in not putting the suppressor on because you don't have another barrel attach, and you can also put an angled grip on if you like that as well. Also, the full reload is totally kick-ass, even if it is a Franken gun and I have no idea what is happening. I promise it has no bearing on the rating. With the ability to two-shot lots of different targets from a variety of ranges and help set up sight, the TCSG Shotgun DMR is up there on this list. Let me know what other weapon tier lists you'd like to see for Rainbow Six Siege in the comments. Thanks for watching. Deuces.